Hey, what's up, my friends? This is Lokay here in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. And in today's video, I wanted to share a little bit about rites of passage and initiations and what it means to go through those, how we can navigate that terrain, and the benefits that come when we're able to step through that threshold in a good way. And also some of the challenges that we might face, the fears, the doubts, the insecurities, the physical challenges, whatever it might be. There's so many different forms of rites of passages. So in this video, I'm going to do my best just to speak from my own experience rather than trying to talk about it on a broader scale, because all we really have is our experience. And I've had many teachers and elders that have guided me through different rites of passages and have helped me to heal and to grow into the man that I am today. And so I wanted to acknowledge those teachers. Thank you. And also, if they were here in this room, they would speak before me. So one of the first rites of passages that I went through was at a very delicate age. I was 14 years old, and this rite of passage lasted for about 3 years. It was a long process because when I was 14, my father was diagnosed with cancer. A few years later, he died, passed away, and shortly after that, I started to get very sick, physically, but also emotionally and mentally and spiritually. So it was a moment in my life where I was already stepping into adulthood, stepping into becoming a man, but I was also faced with death, and I was faced with sickness. It was a very, very challenging time because I had to learn how to navigate my emotions. I had to learn how to find courage. I had to find faith, and I had to find the will to live, to choose life at all costs, because that's part of the nature of a rite of passage, is that often we're faced with life or death, and whether we choose to move forward or shrink back and be caught by that energy of death. And so in that way, the thing that really brought me through that was courage. The courage to say yes to life, the courage to choose life at all costs, to make the changes, to go through the healing, and to choose the experiences that would grow me and mature me. And for me, that's what that rite of passage was all about. And it taught me many things. It taught me how to take care of myself. It taught me how to be self-reliant, how to nourish my body, but also nourish my mind, nourish my spirit and my emotions. Because our mind is such a powerful tool, and it's something that will guide us through that rite of passage, whatever it might be. The mind will make or break it, and it'll work against us or it'll work for us. And it's up to us to learn how to master that. And so rites of passages will teach that in a very profound way. And as I grew older, I started to go through other rites of passages that were more grounded in ceremony and more grounded in spiritual practice. Things like vision quest, learning the elements, learning how to care for the fire, learning how to pray with the earth, and how to nourish myself with water, how to harness the power of breath and the air, through many different experiences that perhaps I'll share in another video. And sometimes those rites of passages, they happen to us. Like my father dying, me getting sick. It just happened. It wasn't a choice that I consciously made. Perhaps on a spiritual level I made that choice, but in the tangible human level, it just seemed to happen to me. And I was thrust into the experience. I was yanked into it. And I had to find how to navigate it on my own. And then sometimes in life we're given the opportunity to choose a rite of passage, to say yes to something, to say yes to a vision quest, or to say yes to an experience that we know is going to challenge us, that we know will be difficult, but that we know will teach us many things and cause us to grow and mature. Because that's the power of a rite of passage, is that it's a process of maturing and growing and coming to fruition as a human being, learning how to be responsible, learning how to give back, to be self-reliant, learning how to have compassion and love and respect for others, learning what is our unique contribution to the world, what is our purpose, and how is that purpose continuing to evolve and grow and transform, and how can we care for life, care for our own life and the lives of our relatives and the creatures of this earth. And these are the things that Rites of Passages will teach us. And in order to navigate that, we need to have courage. And we need to find that courage within ourselves, because no one can give that to us. No one can teach us courage. It's something that we can be guided, but we have to find it and choose it within ourselves. To choose to move forward rather than shrink away. To move through life and to continue to elevate ourselves into new levels of being, new levels of consciousness, so that we can show up more fully for this planet. And through that, we get to have a much more fulfilling life, a much happier, joyful, enriching experience of life. And also, sometimes we go through them with others. In fact, often, from my experience, the rites of passages are always accompanied by our families or our communities or our friends or as humanity, that we're not going through it alone. And sometimes we go through it collectively. And when that happens, we all have our own process with it, depending what phase of life we're in. But we're all going through it together. So for example, right now, when this video is being shot, we're in the experience of the coronavirus. And stores are getting shut down, people are getting quarantined in their homes, people are being self-isolated. And it's a very intense process for many people. Many people have never been in, I don't think any of us have really been through anything like this before. And so in a way, we're going through this threshold together as humanity. We're going through a rite of passage together. And it's something that is a beautiful opportunity, because as humans, we all need to mature together. Because right now, I don't think we're very mature as humanity. We're not taking responsibility on that global scale, and we're not taking care of life in the way that we could be. We're not showing up in the way that we could be. That's not to say that we can't. We just haven't been taught, or we've just been misguided. So that's part of this awakening process, is learning how to do that. And to go through it together is so beautiful, because we're going to keep each other strong. And there's many more challenges ahead, not just individually, but as humanity. So this is just one of many. And when we learn how to go through it as individuals, then we go through it together too. Because the only thing that we really have the right to control, and the only thing we really have power over, truly, is ourselves. And if all of us take that responsibility when we're going through a global awakening, that's what makes it global. That's what makes it humanity. That's what makes it the unity, the unification. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give a like, subscribe to my channel. Also, give a comment. What's your experiences with rites of passage, initiations? What have you been through in your life, and what have they taught you? And remember to take care of your relationships, live from your heart, and keep shining your light out into the world. Love you guys.